The first rule of business is to make sure you mind your own, but to do so, focus on the main objective of the business. But before you start a business, there's always a catch. Everyone forgets the basic key points to follow up during the process. I'm going to tell you about the basic key points that few entrepreneurs or new founders forget. Well, welcome to Freedom Business English channel. I'm Varsha. Please do not forget to subscribe and download our Freedom app. First one being, how committed am I? Every new businessman has to make sure how committed he or she is. The main purpose of commitment is always hard work. There is a limited time, the limited resources, and you have to know how to hard work. The main trump card in this process is self-honesty. You have to be honest to yourself about thinking what the entire process is. For example, a journalist has to publish 1 lakh words to get the final draft. And also, an analyst has to go through a process of 2 years of 80 hours working to build a financial model. That's how much hard work it needs to reach the final goal. 2. A sizable marketing budget. This is where majority of the new founders or an entrepreneur fails. The main objective of a marketing strategy is always when you include all aspects of marketing. This is where the new people go wrong. They always make mistakes in just investing in social media. Digital world is a vision, but social media is not always the only source or aspect of promotion. There has to be promotion in all directions so that the customer is convinced by the way you attract them towards your product or services. Third, hiring a staff. Staff hiring is the major point of your run vehicle of business. You have to make sure there is no too many members working in the organization or not too less. It should always be perfect according to the size of the business. You can't put everything on yourself as well. You have to make sure the work is divided and equally among each and every individual who's coming across this business line. Make sure the business is working only by the efforts of each and every person. Single person cannot run the business unless everyone involves themselves in the entire process. Fourth one, am I clearly communicating my value proposition? Well, this is one major and simple context that everyone learns. It's very simple to keep your entire context short and sweet. It should be so easy that your senile grandma should understand what you're trying to explain. Employees are not always the way you think they are. They might differ in language or they might differ in understanding level. You always have to keep the context so simple that your process of explaining it to them, it has to be so good that they understand what you're trying to communicate rather than one thinking what is happening and the other assuming there's something else happening. So it's better to keep the context short and understandable so that you be a good leader in promoting your product or services. Fifth is the exit strategy. Exit strategy is the main thing where we all go wrong. There are so many ambitious and passionate entrepreneurs or businessmen who are trying to start their business. But where they fail is they know how good to start, but if you don't end the process well, that's the damage of the entire business design you've cultivated. The only process here is that every time you're ending a stage of business, from the growth till the decline stage, you have to make sure it's a proper ending. Just make sure that the end process is in such a way either you're transforming the product or merging with another brand or going through an entire different promotion level. Make sure the product or the service has a perfect end strategy. Do not fail in planning how the end strategy works because that's how simple it has to be. Sixth, being your ideal customer. I always believe that you should have the second sector or a plan B in this option. Always make sure that you have one set of customers that are always prompt to your product or services, but also plan B, which is another set. Always make sure that you are focusing on a huge market where you know that one group fails and another group is already there to back you up. That's your ideal set of customers. Please do not just focus on one set. I believe that there are customers who always love and cherish the loyal brand, but make sure they follow up to you. 7. Making your margin too small. Always make sure that the bigger margin at the initial will not give you productivity or investment. It's going to give you loss. My friend, here is a catch that you always have to notice. Smaller the margin, bigger the benefit. It eventually has to grow with the profit. That's how simple the logic of growth is. Grow according to the demand. Creating a small margin and then going step by step is one of the basic things you're taught about business. But eventually, if you create a product and cost it for a very large price, that might deflect your entire business cycle. That might even cause a big trouble by your customers getting pissed off on you. Nobody might come back to the same product and give you the same result that you're expecting if you keep the margins beyond what you expect. Always start off with a smaller margin. Eighth, the context of your business solution. The biggest criteria of your product or service has to be a solution to the problem. Every founder has to keep this in mind. Every businessman or an entrepreneur has to work in the same cycle. The main cause and why the product is prepared or the service is provided. He or she has to keep that in mind, the main solution and what are the problems or the issues they're solving. Please make sure the context is even put into the employee's mind so that they work in the same manner you want them to work. Once the context is printed in everyone's mind, everyone knows the purpose of the product and they will slowly work towards that. Thinking it's all on you, that's not how it works. Thinking it's all on you is a simple logic, but it's equally complicated once you take that into consideration of stress. Stress can only be busted out when you divide your work equally amongst everyone. I'm sure everyone once at least in their life would have thought how the entire pressure might come upon oneself. But that's not the way you solve it. Please have a backup team that always helps you to solve the issues which rises all of a sudden. Risks are something that you always have to take, but taking upon yourself might be one of the biggest mistakes you do instead of solving them. Putting the product first. Let me tell you, my friends, this is one of the major mistakes everyone ends up doing. Please put your product first. Customer is God, I agree. But putting your product first is the major thing that you have to think. There are certain clients or certain people who are buying or using your service, but make sure the purpose of your service is only through the innovation that you have started this business from. That is printed in the minds of everyone. Why are these people convinced to buy your product? That is the only cause that why they're coming back to use your services. The reason why you've developed this so-and-so product is only because you're focusing on your business. The customer has to get convinced that your product is the main source they're coming towards you. So put your product in the first place. Thank you so much. So if you like this video and also felt this video will help so many others or your friends, please like, share, and also if you have certain thoughts that you want to share with everyone, don't forget to comment. Thank you so much.